Hello, hello. Welcome back. Miserable Mets podcast, episode number 6. It's December. It is January 24th, and we are in a similar spot to what we've been in since our last signing, which was our last big signing, which was Sean Manaea. So as we get into it, it's Miz and Damian. Bruce might hop on in the middle of this, so be on the lookout. And so let's just get right into it. The trend continues across the league, and the Mets, of course, are right there with the rest of the league. Nothing significant really happening. A lot of one-year deals being done, and a lot of one-year deals being done for players that the Mets were linked to or looking at, or that would fit perfectly for the team. Just to name a few, just to get them out the way. There's Matt Moore signed for 1 year, $9 million. Robert Stevenson, 3 years, $33 million. Two really good arms, a righty and a lefty. That would have been really great eighth inning pieces. Matt Moore he kind of could do anything. But Robert Stevenson would have been a really great eighth inning piece that we still don't have at all yet. Chapman signed 1 year, $10.5 million. And our boy, who we were clamoring for the whole offseason, Yadiel Rodriguez, signed for 4 years, $32 million, which is pretty much what we imagined that he would be at. We got Stroman signing for 2 years, $37 million, which we weren't looking at Stroman, but he is a good pitcher in the league. And if he's signing for 2 years, $37 million, I think that the Mets should and could be adding good arms for low risk, high reward that could help the team this year and could ultimately help the team next year. And then, like we mentioned before, Brent Suter, another great left-handed arm that would have been great in the back of the bullpen, signed for 1 year, $3 million. That he's been signed for a couple weeks now. And another big one was Rhys Hoskins, signed 2 years, $34 million. As the Mets still don't have a solid DH piece that can solidify and protect Pete Alonso, Lindor, and the middle of the lineup, which still looks pretty weak. So just kicking things off, how you feeling about things, Damian? How's it looking?
I think always try to say our goal is to have an episode definitely a week. That's like going to be our goal. It's just tough right now because we're like in a standstill, and we would love to come on and say or give our opinion on the newest signing or whatever. But I mean, everything's in the mud right now. It's dragging, and we spoke about it a few times already in a few other episodes that we could understand us not going the route of giving out big contracts because it's definitely going to be a reset year for us. But the fact that we might be inclined to just give temporary 1 or 2 year deals, and again, like a broken record, I'll say it again, the market is literally that this year, is starting to boggle my mind what our end goal is going to be. Because if you feed the fans that we're still going to be in playoff contention, and that's what we think we're going to be, but you're literally going off of just hopes on your current roster, and that's all you're going to have going into the season, because that's what to me is trending. I just don't understand. I don't see us realistically contending for a playoff spot with what we have right now. There's still plenty of holes that we could have plugged in with temporary deals that the market is showing is out there. But we're just, I think, either being too analytical or just, I think maybe Stearns is too, wrapped up in what we currently have and just letting it play out. And if that's the case, then don't tell us we're going to be a playoff team. Just tell us the truth. We are looking to contend eventually, but for now, we have a deep farm system. We have a lot of young players, and I think it's in our best interest to reset while also seeing what we have. And to me, I would have been fine with that because it's not like we're missing out on free agents because they're going to other teams on 4, 5, 6, 7 year deals. If that's the case, I would feel better. But we're literally like letting pieces that you just mentioned, and we've mentioned time and time again, that are going to other teams for almost nothing deals, for show me deals with an option for a second year, which to me is right up our alley. We can do all that if I think Stearns is thinking that, as far as checking what the roster is, and while also resetting the team for next year for 2025, with also plugging in holes that we need to plug in, because the market is allowing you to do that this season, but we're not. For some reason, we're not, and it's starting to become, to me, like evident that we're just laying back. We don't want to be, I guess, suckers and jump on signing a player. And all these players, all this talent is getting away from us. And I said it before, let's let Stearns cook, but to me, it's like he's warming up leftovers. And that's going to be, I think our season's going to be just a show me season. And if that's the case with what we have right now, for me, come deadline, we're probably going to be sellers. And hey, here's to another 70 whatever win season, man.
Yeah, well, I think that's what is bothering me so much. A lot of what you just said brought up a lot of talking points. Um, if they are going to be sellers, I like there's so many of these deals. Suter, 1 year, 3 mil. Um, I didn't want Chapman, but Chapman, 1 year, 10.5 mil. Matt Moore, 1 year, 9 mil. I can see staying away from Stevenson. He got 3 years, which good for him. But those 1 year deals, those are guys where if we're not in it, they could flip them and bring back significant pieces. Look what we did with Robertson last year. And I feel like it's a win-win if you sign these 1 year deals because one, you're showing the fan base you're in it to win it. Two, there's no risk because it's 1 year deal. It's whatever. You're wash your hands with it and you're on to the next year. Three, you flip those players. If you're not in it, you flip those players at the deadline and get a mid-level good prospect. So it helps them build the team for the future. So I don't see any negatives. I mean, there's the money part of it with the the tax, the Cohen tax, but at this point, 9 million, a $9 million deal, a $3 million deal, that's not really going to do much. And Stearns has said that the money isn't a constraint if it comes to the right deal. So what is the right deal? I mean, I think the thing that's bothered me and bothered the Mets fans, I think the most is how many freaking reports have you read? Oh, the Mets are connected to this guy. The Mets are linked to this guy. The Mets are looking at this guy. And then they sign literally the next day to someone else. And it's happening over and over again. So it's like, are they actually looking at these players? Is it just Martino just making up clickbait, or are the Mets just getting turned down? So I don't really understand what's happening. I would love to know if they've actually made offers on these players that have signed recently. But I'm not panicking yet, only because there is a few names out there that if we end up signing them, I'd say, hey, it was a solid offseason. I'll take it. And I think the number one player, I think that if he comes off the board, I'll be really pissed. And I think I'd start to panic is, someone that we've mentioned last, I think maybe 3 episodes, Wandy Peralta, a left-handed back-end reliever. He's been with the Yankees past few years. He throws a lot of innings. He's thrown 153 innings over the past 3 seasons. ERA 2.82. 21% strikeout rate, 10.2% walk rate, and a really great ground ball pitcher. And with our middle infield, Lindor, McNeil, I mean, they're rolling up the plays. We still have to see what we're going to get from third base defense, but I feel pretty confident with the defense, especially with the team that Stearns is trying to build is uh, defense first. You gotta get pitchers that induce ground balls and keep it in the park. So I think he's the one player that if we lose out on, I'll start to panic. And the other one that the Mets are linked to is, or there's two players, two Astros relievers. Ryan Stanek, he's 31 years old. Over the past 3 years, he's thrown even more innings, 186 appearances with the 2.9 ERA. If you're getting a reliever who's thrown so much over the past 3 years in the American League division or an American League in a competitive division, I think I always love when AL pitchers go over to the NL.
Me too.
I think it was more prominent before when AL was the only league with the DH, but I don't know. I feel like it's more competitive in the AL, top to bottom. So some of those years that I just mentioned, was AL only DH. So um, I think someone like that would be great to have in the back of the bullpen. And then of course Hector Neris, who I'm not really big on because I think he's going to end up wanting a lot more. So I think he'll be a higher end acquisition, which I think it's not that I don't want him, but I think it's less likely that we would get someone of that caliber in terms of money. But I think Peralta and Stanek, I think, are worth every dollar, and I don't think they'll cost as much as Neris is looking for.
I agree with everything you just said. It's all in front of us. To me, there's no it's such a low risk, and I just don't understand what they're waiting for. I mean, to me, just rip the band-aid off already and just say we're done and just we'll see you in a month in spring training. Also read a report about how we no longer maybe might not be looking at a DH, that we might look at Marte at DH. I mean,
So who are
so
you throwing in the outfield?
I'm. Do you agree if your goal is to eventually be a contender once again in 2025, and you're going to go after people in the offseason? Like, as a free agent, when you see a team that just came off of back-to-back 70-win seasons, is that appealing to you? Like, because the point I'm trying to get at is you cannot risk putting out a product that's going to win you 70 games in this market with this owner. And let's keep it real, these fans, because it's still a business at the end of the day. And we've said it before, you have to put butts in seats. And there is such a high possibility of that happening, man, with what we have right now. And that's why, to me, it's making me angry because we suffered long enough with the Wilpons. And I thought we'd never see this again, because even the big teams in MLB that have an off year, they don't win 70 games. They barely miss the playoffs. They're still competitive throughout the year. They still make moves. And I understand this guy, he's new. He obviously was given the keys to the castle. He is, putting his footprint on the team in all aspects. I understand that. But you still have to do part of your, primary job, which is to put a competitive product on the market. I mean, on the field. And we're not doing that. We're not. You cannot sell me with this lineup, this rotation, this bullpen that we're going to, shock the world and be in it. No way. Because in your own division, you're probably the third best team. Probably the fourth best team. And that's saying something because, you have an extra playoff spot now in baseball. And I just do not see it. And I don't have no faith that who you just mentioned we're going to end up with. No way. I think
Yeah.
that they're going to end up letting Peralta go, Stanek go. Naris is going to probably get, a big time deal because he has become somewhat clutch and reliable in the playoffs after he went to Houston. So I don't see it. And again, we're gonna have an injury here or two there, and this might unravel by our birthdays. And we've been saying that since episode 1.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, you know what? Let's start trading off people now that you know you're not gonna keep after this season. Your Pete's, your McNeils. You might as well. You might as well get the biggest value for them now, because you have to hope that he kills it the first half of the season to get a haul for him. Because if he starts off not good, you might as well trade him now. Because it's just that I'm today I'm like annoyed. I'm really annoyed. Out of all episodes, today's episode 5 or 6, whatever episode it is. It's mine unraveling today.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely feel similar. I'm like, I'm not there yet, but it's like you're going up on the roller coaster and you're
Yeah,
about to go over the edge.
yeah.
I'm getting close to the edge.
I left Six
And
Flags. I left the amusement park already.
yeah,
The line was too long. They told me I had the fast pass. They lied to me, and I left. And plus, it's good. It's good. I'm the mad one, and you're the sane one. So that's good for this dynamic, because if we were both pissed off, forget it.
Well, I'm only holding hope because there is pieces left that could help, especially from the bullpen. Because even if we don't get those guys, I think if we get someone like Robertson, please, please do not consider Ottavino.
He's coming back, bro. You know that. He's coming back.
Please do not bring him back.
He is.
I cannot stand Ottavino. He's a nice person. He does well on SNY. Maybe he should stick to TV. I cannot stand when he comes in hanging that slider. I can't take another inning of him coming out of the bullpen. And when there was an article saying that we're linked to him, I was just thinking, all right, well, this is actually a good thing, because if there's an article coming out that we're linked to him, it's got to be fake. So it can't be true. So I'll take that. But the fact that there's people out there that could help the team significantly, that gives me hope still. Like I said, if those names fall off and they're signed, then I'll be pissed. Then we'll get a whole different reaction. But the DH spot, like you mentioned, Hoskins was a big piece that they were looking at. I mean, numbers wise, he really could have helped, and he plays first base. He could have gave Pete some days off, because Pete plays pretty much every day, and Pete could be the DH sometimes. I think that would have been a nice platoon, especially since Hoskins is coming back from the ACL injury. So I think slowly working him into the field would have been good. And he could have been a trade piece. Maybe not this year, but next year he could have been something decent. So are we going to sign a DH? At this point, I don't think so.
We're not.
Which is really unfortunate. We're going into another season. It was funny. I was at my parents' house and I put on SNY, and they had a classic game on from 2022. And it was in, I think, San Francisco or something. And our boy Vogelback is in the lineup. And I'm thinking, oh, this team still is feeling the after effects of just not getting a DH when we needed them most. And we're still in the same position where we don't have a DH. That lineup that day had Lindor batting second, and McNeil batting third, and Alonso batting fourth, and I think Vogelback batting fifth. And it made me want to throw up seeing McNeil, of all players, batting third, and Vogelback batting fifth. Like, McNeil, is a hitter, but is he a 3-hitter? No chance. Which also made me think, that was a game where we didn't have Marte. So going into this season, Marte is looking like he's healthy, playing in a Dominican league. He had a few instances where he had to run out some ground balls, and he looked pretty good, better than he looked most of last year. So Marte, he's if he can come back healthy, it'd be like adding a significant piece to this lineup that we didn't have last year. I think he is the catalyst for this entire lineup. Not only just the spirit and the swagger of the team, but just the roster construction, the lineup construction. I think he changes everything. And I've been seeing recently people are looking at the lineups and putting together potential lineups, especially since we're a month away from playing games in spring training. Do you think if we have a healthy Marte, do you think Nimmo should stay in the leadoff spot? He's someone who doesn't steal bags. He gets on base, but he doesn't steal bags, and he has some pop.
Yeah,
He could hit 20 home runs. So would you construct a lineup, moving him out of the leadoff spot and maybe moving things around to kind of try to lengthen the lineup a little bit?
I totally understand why you want that, and it makes sense because you have someone leading off that could steal a bag right off the back. Um, to me, that's always been Nimmo's flaw. If that's all he's missing, it's just finding that art of stealing bases. I think the way you keep Marte healthy is not putting him lead off. If that makes sense to you, I don't know
Yeah.
why. I feel like he would be even more aggressive to constantly jump in and go get a bag, and that's where I think I I hold my breath when he takes off, man. And you said the word "if" a few times. I want I we've been calling for Marte for years. We've wanted him for a long time, and of course we get him. In my opinion, a couple years too late because even before he got to us, he killed it. 100%. If he plays his potential, this lineup, this team is night and day because he is someone that people like. I think gravitate to in many ways, but I just think that his body is finally starting to show its age. And um, I'm going to flip a question back to you. So if he's going to be our DH, who's going to play right field?
Oh, well, I don't know if I'd put him DH. I don't know if I'd put him DH,
That's what
but
Stern
I would.
said.
Yeah, I mean, they would consider him to give him days off in the field.
Yeah,
Um, it sucks because so much of his game is speed,
right.
and of course, when you're using your speed, stealing bags and all that, you're more likely to have injuries, especially his type of injuries,
Yeah,
hamstrings,
groins.
groins. The
He's
fast twitch
huge.
kind of.
He's jacked, man.
I think he's too jacked. I
Yeah,
think he needs to focus a little bit more on
yeah,
functional movements
right.
and less on strength, I guess.
I think he has to lose
Uh,
weight. Stanton supposedly lost weight. He was told to
yeah,
lose weight.
he looks leaner. He looks a
Yeah,
lot leaner.
right.
Which I saw a video of Marte training recently, and I liked what I saw in terms of what kind of training he was doing. More about balancing the body, strength on both sides, and functionality, and being strong throughout an entire movement. Um, so I'm hoping that we get a stronger body Marte without all the muscle. A more practical and more functional body.
He don't gotta try. That guy, he was born with
No,
abs. That boy
exactly.
is, you know what I mean? Like he don't have to do much, man. He that power. He was born with power. That guy is gonna die with pop. It's just what I think he has to revert himself to now thinking. You know what? I have to. My main goal is not to, stay strong. My main goal is to stay healthy, and everything else is gonna follow. It's just. But he is such a huge piece that we are almost expecting to get hurt, and that's so sad. And
Yeah.
I mean, I know Stearns hasn't been here long enough, but the rest of the team, the trainers, they it's I think that type of stuff is in their head. Like we have to consider this and that because we do have players in the lineup that have shown that they can play a full season, and I don't and just there's too many ifs, man, too many ifs. Hoskins, I never thought I would say this, but I would have took him because think about it. If we trade Pete, boom, there goes your first baseman right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For another year or so, you know? Um,
Uh,
so, and yeah, the guy, I think he's a good hitter at City too. When we played the Phillies, he did pretty good against us. So I would have gave him a 1-2 year deal. Why not?
yeah, I mean, he got 2 years, 34. And if he's healthy and playing to his potential, he's worth way more than that,
Yeah, yeah. He's
especially in today's
clutch.
market.
That boy's clutch. I gotta give him that.
Hmm.
He was a big part of the Phillies World Series run last 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Huge part.
Yeah. But I mean, imagine if if we added someone like Hoskins and then you put together a lineup. Let me see. I'm throwing a different lineup together here. Something that is not like the typical, well, mainly typical, but a little bit different. A healthy Marte batting leadoff just sets the tone. And then he's a righty. And then McNeil batting second, lefty, puts the bat on the ball. Lindor third, Alonso fourth, and then Hoskins or DH that we signed fifth, Nemo sixth,
Wow.
Alvarez seventh, Beatty or Vientos eighth, and Bader ninth. I like that lineup. I
You
like
see
I,
how
I like that lineup much more. We have Nemo batting sixth. That's a good six hitter. Alvarez batting seventh. Less pressure on him. I like him batting seventh, and he has pop and guys in front of him get on base. He could be a run producer from the seventh spot, but
that
we don't have a DH.
right. I was just gonna say what you brought up. What we're missing, another bat, and that lineup is spicy. That's the word I describe it. It's that'd be, and God willing, everyone stays healthy. Yeah, sign me up for that. I get it. But again, we're missing a bat, but so far they don't see it that way. They don't see it. They just hey, and we lost a big bat. We lost Ronnie. Like, you know, people tend to forget that. Like, I think that kid was projected because he was going to be with us the whole season, from the jump to kill it, and we lost him. So I thought even more we're going to, go and get a bat, but you know, there's no way this week passes with at least one of those bats, being. We said it a lot, I know, but it's listen, it's I don't know, man. I just want uh, April 1st to come. I want to just know what it is. Rip the Band-Aid. Let me know what we have, because I think by then you'll know what to expect. I think whatever hope you have right now, by that point, you're either going to stay with it or you're going to be realistic and say, okay, I get it. This is what I got to look forward to.
Yeah, I think I think the idea, if we go into the season with what we have now, the idea of us being a wild card team is just not realistic, because not because the team isn't good enough. I think the lineup is good enough if everyone's healthy, if everyone plays their best season that they could play. Nearly impossible. I mean, one, be the health, somebody's going to get hurt. And two, to expect Marte to play at his best, McNeil to play at his best. I'm not too worried about Alonso or Lindor. Nemo, he has to play at his best. There's Alvarez has to repeat his success. There's so many things that have to happen for us to be at that level, and that's not even including
Pitching.
the pitching. The pitching is a whole different story.
Listen, we have a at best second as our ace, and after that, every other pitcher we have in the rotation are probably 4th, 5th starters on other teams.
Yeah.
So I don't see if we had the pitching, maybe we can get away with the lackluster hitting. But if you're gonna give up 5 runs a game, man, you know, every 4th day or so, you know what I mean? Like after Senga, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That there's no way this offense is gonna, bail them out. No.
And the relievers. I mean, the relievers are don't have a history of success.
No.
Besides each reliever maybe had one decent year besides Diaz
Is
and
Drew Smith
and
still in the
and and
lineup?
Rayleigh.
Is
Oh
Drew
yeah,
Smith with us? Oh my
oh
goodness.
yeah, he's a lock. He's a lock for that bullpen. He came in every time
I'm
he came in last year. I'm like, all right, it's done. We're done.
I'm so tired of that guy. I'm almost as tired as I am of him, like I am out of Vino, which I think we're gonna get back. He's gonna be a setup guy. Watch. He
I
already
mean,
say he already said he'll take a pay cut. You read that, right? He'll take less
yeah,
money.
he's
He's coming
he's
back.
starving. He's starving now. He,
Yeah,
he thought he thought he was gonna have some pull going into this
yeah.
offseason.
No, no way. Listen, dude.
He
I don't.
turned down exactly what he will probably end up signing for if he gets
Yeah.
signed by someone.
I don't. Again, in your own division, man. I think you have to look into your own division first and then see. You know, to me, it's a good starting point. And if we do that, I think we're already behind the eight ball big time. So, um, I don't know. I'm starting to lose opinion. And I don't want to say H word, hope, but I just rip the band-aid off. Let me know what we have. What we rocking with.
Yeah, and I wonder how much they're actually expecting to call up any of the prospects. We have Jet Williams and Drew
Cunha.
Gilbert. Well, I think Jet Williams and Drew Gilbert, and I guess Acuna would be the top three that would
Yeah.
have a chance of coming up this year. Simply because if things go wrong with either third or second, or someone gets hurt in the outfield, which is highly possible with Bader out there and Marte out there, then they would move McNeil to the outfield, which would leave a position open
Yeah.
for second base. And,
Or
and
Beatty
I can't,
sucks.
or
If
Beatty
Beatty's
sucks,
horrendous.
but I can't imagine that they intend to want to use like Wendell as an everyday second baseman or third baseman.
They better not. They better not.
So,
They better not. Dude.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but I wonder if they're going to do the aggressive approach with bringing up some of these players that are top guys. But I guess what also matters is how well they're doing at the time, and also where we're at in terms of the standings, and like the other implications of like when we called up Alvarez after a certain amount of games, so that we got that extra year of controllability. Stuff like that is going to be factored in.
Yeah.
But I wonder what and if and who gets called up, and why. Because I wonder if it's
Yeah.
because of poor performance or because of injury.
I think
Um,
they'll be called up just because Stearns wants to see what he has. I think that's his style. That's what he comes from. So totally, we're gonna. He called who he called up, to start the season in AAA for a reason. I think we're gonna see a lot of them eventually because he wants to see what he has. You can do all that. You can do all that at your own discretion, but still plug in holes beforehand. We've said that to ourselves. On the side, man. Like we can do a bunch of stuff with still putting out money, but not too much money, and they're not. And I think it'll be more of the latter, which you said, probably because of injury, out of necessity, because of poor performance. When I would love to see those kids here and there, maybe in September, when we have some locked in or we're pretty much in the race still. But I think out of necessity, we're going to see them earlier.
yeah, I mean, I am excited to see some of them. Jet Williams and Drew Gilbert, especially. I've seen a lot of good things about Jet Williams. He's our top ranked. He's 23 overall, according to Baseball Prospectus. And Drew Gilbert, crushed it for the minor league team when he got sent over to the Mets. So, having a great outfield prospect and a great infield prospect is encouraging. Which it brings me back, and especially with the Hall of Fame voting going
What a
on. You know, it
what a
brings me
joke!
back
What a
to
joke! The Hall of
David
Fame.
Wright, and Jose Reyes. You know, calling those guys up and them just crushing it. You know, it's a different feeling when they get called up and they do well and they become a staple in the lineup. So I'm hoping that we get a few of those
It's been a
out of
long
one of
time.
these guys.
It's been a long time, bro, since we had that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we had Degrom. You know, he got called up late. He was like what 27 when he got his
Yeah.
his first full season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, when he was on the team, I mean, it was magical.
Yeah.
Syndergaard was awesome. Um,
Even Harvey.
Matt Harvey, awesome. You know,
Yeah.
Matt's with his stint. You know, it was really fun to see. And then you know, right now I guess we have Nimmo, who's our homegrown guy. And then Alvarez is just showing his potential. So you know, we have
Pete.
some out there, and Pete, of course, Pete. um,
For now.
for now, yeah. But it's nice. It's better when we're competing and winning divisions and in the NLCS and World Series. You know, so we haven't done that lately. We haven't done that. Pete hasn't done that. Nemo hasn't done that. You know, they missed the 2015 team, and they blew it in 22. So, uh, you know, it'd be nice to get a core of winners that grew up in winning.
Yeah.
Because you know, I just have a sour taste when it comes to like the McNeils and the Alonzo kind of group, and the 2022 team. Um, you know, they could have solidified and cemented themselves as Mets legends. I think if 22 goes different, you won't. There's no consideration of Pete leaving ever.
No.
You know, I think the fan base is pretty much split in half.
Yeah.
But if they won in 22 or at least made it to the World Series, I think those guys are not looked at as
Right.
potential trade pieces. And then last year, you know, if they went in and took care of business, you know, even more solidified. But it's nothing you can do, I guess.
No, man. Just move on. And just reality sets in, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And because I was, I've definitely been swayed. You talked about Pete in the 50-50 split. I think I crossed that picket line. I think I saw the light with Pete, and I'm taking off this hat, and I'm putting on my my bow tie on, and I'm you know crunching numbers, and it you have to sometimes leave the heart behind and just think with your head, and it makes sense what people say, like people like you that all along have said, Pete is what he is, and that's it. And are you willing to give him a 6-7 year deal, and then know for a fact that those tail end years are going to be horrendous? And it don't matter even if you have daddy warbucks like Cohen is. So that's why it just makes too much sense that if we're going to do it, just do it now. Do it now. Get a haul that you're guaranteed to have, because past the off season, when the season starts, whatever happens to him is going to dictate what we get from him or for him. If we trade him, at a deadline. So if that's already in your mind and you're not going to extend him, you have to do your due diligence, and just, if you know you're going to get more for the team now, that is your job. Your job is to put the Mets first and star players second. And the guy's production, he's done what he's done. He deserves his props, but um, I think that if, like you said, it's exciting to have homegrown people. The Wrights, the Reyes, your own guys, and we started to get that back in our farm system last year. So if let's make that more a possibility, and let's keep on getting people back. We signed Vlad Guerrero's son. You saw that? That's pretty cool. I think
Yeah.
that's dope. You know, that's the one good thing too. Let's get a little positive now. We have a staple in DR. We supposedly are one of the top teams down there as far as the clinics, the schools, the recruiting. So that's exciting. We got a whole new international core down there that are in charge. So that's cool. But it is frustrating that we're talking about this opposed to who we signed didn't and or didn't sign and who we got to look forward to come April 1st, man. I don't, do you so getting back to what is your like final um I know you have like a timeline. You said like if we don't get this guy, then I'm going to go into full going down mode. But who do you potentially see us at least getting like that's going to be probably not a name that we probably have thought of or someone big like you think we're going to go bullpen right first or at least
Um, well, Stearns has said that he's going to be adding to the bullpen.
okay. So
So
who's realistically a target for us? Be honest.
I
The
think
trend.
it's got to be Wandy Peralta. I think it has to be. I think he fits what Stearns would like. He pitched in New York. I think the Mendoza effect will facilitate that. I think if anyone, I think we're going to get him. Mainly because of following the trend of the offseason and the Yankees players. I think if there's one guy from the bullpen, offensively, I can't see anything or anyone really. I wish I could say Soler. I wish I could say JD. I don't see it happening. I don't think there's any chance. Um,
No starter.
Starting pitcher? No way. I don't see it. I don't see it. What do you want me to say, Trevor Bauer?
Yeah, I would love Trevor Bauer. We spent almost half an episode talking about Trevor and how he deserves a second chance. And it's another low risk, probably the lowest risk, probably the biggest high reward because that guy's ceiling is ace. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm starting to think that Cohen doesn't want an image issue, which to me is
Yeah.
not fair because we talked about it before. Everyone deserves a second chance. In sports, you have seen it, multiple times in different sports. People get second chances, but yeah. So, but I'm like lost for words.
Well, it's funny that Chapman just got signed.
Yeah,
1 year, 10.5 million. That guy had the domestic dispute with his girlfriend. Shot a gun 8 times at like the wall, or like shot outside and then shot at the wall,
Dex pops.
and then he choked his girlfriend out. But he's playing. He's been playing fine. Like people you see some random people complaining about it on Twitter and stuff. But at the end of the day, he's playing in the league, no problem. It's like,
Yeah,
how does he have the freedom to play, but Bauer is so crucified,
yeah.
in his situation.
Ozuna for the Braves.
Ozuna, I mean, there's so many examples. I think baseball's really been one of the worst sports when it comes to like domestic violence and just horrible behavior outside of off the field,
Yeah,
and them just getting like 2 weeks suspension and then they're right back in it. Um, Maybe they're just trying to make an example out of Bauer, so that moving forward, things like that don't happen. But I mean, we saw Familia do stuff. We saw Jose Reyes. A lot of players that have been on the Mets have had history of that. And it's not saying that it's right.
no,
It's not good,
no,
but that, I mean, you guys, the Mets fans, have rooted for them in the past. I don't see why Bauer shouldn't have his opportunity, especially when in his situation it was supposedly consensual. So
Not guilty. It was
yeah, so
so
I don't know. It's a weird thing, but I think it's something we said last time. It's gonna once he gets signed, it'll be a big uproar for about a couple months. Everyone will forget it. You know, it'll be like a Mike Vick. That guy, that guy. You know, he's commentating on TV as
yeah,
a analyst. You
yeah.
know, it's not right, but that's I mean that's Hollywood. I guess that's they they
Listen,
forget about it.
if he pitches, you know he's going to pitch like a 3.5 ERA. He's going to give you innings. Whoever signs him is going to love him. He's going to do great, and it won't be us. But again, another deal that fits our needs perfectly and does not strap us for any situation whatsoever. So, but so are you going? Are we planning to go to the home opener? is that is that going to be the goal?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely going to be at the home opener.
yeah. Seeing Senga
Oh
pitch.
yeah, oh yeah. You know the Mets do
Yeah,
well on opening day.
yeah.
They give
Everything's
you all the
brand
hope.
new. Yeah, everything's brand
Yeah,
new.
they give you all the hope.
Right. Yeah.
They look so good opening day. I remember when we signed JJ Puts and we shored up our bullpen and everything went perfectly.
Oh man.
Starter went seven. Puts pitched the eighth, and I forget who
And then
closed it out.
then he went from puts to putts the rest of the season.
Yeah. But that first game, everything went perfectly.
Yeah.
Everyone did exactly what they were supposed to do.
I think we have a good record when we go to the home opener. I think like the Mets haven't. I don't think I've been to a loss, and I think we went to like the last like umpteen home openers.
Yeah,
So
we've been to a lot of them.
yeah, so we have to be there for the Mets. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's wow. So Hall of Fame, the joke that is a Hall of Fame. Had a couple of Mets that were on the ballot this year for the first time. Um, Older ones that have been there for a long time and still get no love. Are you with me that it is a farce? That the Hall of Fame is a joke? It's a popularity contest. It is
Yeah,
not
I
what
think
it
it's a
should be.
yeah, I think it's a writer's ego uh fest. I think it kind of bothers me when they post like their ballot. For one, I think they're flexing that, oh, hey, I'm a baseball writer, I get to vote on the Hall of Fame.
Right, right.
And two, um, they try to act all high and mighty of who they're voting for and why they're voting for them. I
Yeah,
think if everyone just voted who they voted for, wanted to vote for, and did it silently, I think you'd be seeing a lot more of these players like Sheffield getting in. But you know, there's people who just don't want to put their name on you know voting him in for whatever for the steroid stuff or whatever reason that they might have.
yeah. Alleged with
Um,
him.
yeah, and the Beltron, I think Beltron will make it in. He was at 57.1% this year. I think he will make it in. But the Astros thing, of course, is gonna hinder him, which is unfortunate because he's such a stand-up player for his whole career. And they had that scandal, and it's funny that he is the one that is the most targeted of that whole thing.
It's bullcrap. His scapegoat. How's that possible?
Yeah, yeah. They say
Like
he like orchestrated everything, but it's like, uh, but everyone, if you took part in it, it's. I mean, you're just as bad. It's like,
exactly. Yeah, you're guilty too.
yeah. So it's. I don't know. I don't know. People try to act all high and mighty when it comes to certain things, but forgive other things. It's like it's all crap.
So Altuve, does
It's
that mean when
unfortunate.
Altuve is up, you're gonna hold that against him too?
Well, they
That
should.
guy,
They
you know?
should. They should. If they, I mean, of that whole freaking thing that happened, the only guy who got screwed was Beltran and the Mets,
Yeah,
with him being our manager.
yeah, exactly.
Everyone else, Alex Cora, was it
Yeah,
Alex Cora, right?
yep.
Was he off one year? Or
Yeah,
and then he's back fine.
the
Nothing.
GM got suspended 1 year. Now he's the GM of the White Sox, I think, or like, um, it is what you said. It is old writers that are set in their ways. Um, Literally, they've quoted one of the older writers saying that if what Joe DiMaggio never made it first ballot, then he never sees anyone else making it first ballot. That to me is a
Yeah,
freaking joke. Like
yeah,
and we mentioned like there's players throughout the years too that they were just a holes to reporters, and reporters remembered that and they hold it against them. That to me is disgusting. If you are if you are linked to being one of the greatest, if not great, at a particular position or at doing something in a sport, you should be considered for the Hall of Fame. And I mean, Mattingly, our boy Keith. I mean, you're talking about 11, 10 time in a row winning Gold Glovers, man. That just don't get love because one had a drug problem and was not nice to reporters, and that it's Albert Bell with the Indians. If you see that guy's stats, that guy's a Hall of Famer. In the '90s, he was amazing, but he was a big meanie to writers, to reporters. So, you know, um, I mean, and David Wright. David Wright. I don't want to be a homer, but David Wright. He obviously was forced to retire because of health. He didn't retire because he said he just wanted to retire. He had to retire. That guy's injuries, I understand. Part of being great is to be available and to play longevity. But if you see his numbers, he was on pace to be one of the greats. And already you're seeing other players that have less numbers than him, get more votes than him. Last year, Scott Rowland. That's a joke. Scott Rowland. I mean, I put Keith Hernandez numbers next to Scott Rowland's, and it was night and day. And guess who's in, and guess who isn't. So I don't pay no mind to Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds was probably, if in my opinion, probably the best player I've ever seen. Like I think him and Griffey, and again they're holding that against him. Him getting a big head, literally his head growing. So to me, it's a joke. I don't pay no mind to it. Hall of Fame is just a crapshoot. When people start dying is when they'll say yes to them. They don't want to give them that moment when they're alive.
yeah. It's annoying to see. And then you got players like Joe Mauer, which he's a Hall of Famer, but a first ballot.
No, no way.
That's a bit of a stretch. I mean, he was amazing. I mean, the numbers he put up as a catcher, absolutely insane. But first ballot, I mean,
He had no power.
first ballot is special. First
Yeah,
ballot Hall of Famer is really not a normal thing. And when you got guys like Billy Wagner on his ninth year not making it, and you got Mauer making it first year, Billy Wagner's considered the best lefty reliever ever, and he didn't make it on his ninth year. And Joe Mauer is not the best catcher ever.
no,
He's not.
he's at
He's not even top five,
no. He
and
the
he
guy.
made it first ballot.
When do you remember a catcher not having power? And if you look at his power numbers, the guy was an average machine. But even like behind the plate, what do you have? 3 Gold Gloves. I mean, Pudge, Bench, all the legends. Are
Molina.
Molina will be if Mauer got first ballot, bro, and Yachty doesn't. That literally tells you everything about the Hall of Fame.
Well, the offensive numbers aren't there for Yachty, but I mean, the total package wise, in terms of catcher, I mean, he was incredible. I mean, he did everything you wanted. He completely changed your team. You see the Cardinals after he left
Yep.
just fall apart.
Yeah.
So, I think catcher is a really big position that it's not just an offensive position and it's not just a defensive position. It's the whole
All around.
package.
Right. Yeah.
But also, I don't know what the splits are on his like catching versus DH, but I mean he DH'd a lot too.
He went to first quick. Yeah. He's
so
shot.
So
Yep.
is he going in as a he's going in as a catcher, but it's like he was a DH too. So it's
Yeah.
I don't know. It should be weighed a little bit differently.
No, like you said earlier, imagine David Wright had DH available to him. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But they don't weigh they don't weigh these things. I think what they weigh is stuff that they shouldn't weigh. Is how did he talk to me one day after a game? That's what they
Yeah,
weigh, and it's crap.
they got. I can't. I mean, especially looking at the writers now and the crap that they post uh, about stuff about anything like that. What was the Ken Rosenthal article that like a couple weeks ago where he said just some absurd crap. Uh,
That guy,
oh,
I
talking
told
about Wander Franco, the Wander Franco
on the investigation.
article. Yeah, he made an article about Wander Franco and saying, or not Wander Franco, but signing young players to long term contracts and bringing up the risks that come with it, like getting charged with the sex assault or some shit. I don't know, something,
Oh, with a
something.
minor, as if like
Yeah, yeah,
everyone does that.
yeah. It's like
Yeah,
this guy is so tone deaf.
he is. He wants like you said with Martino clickbait, and he that guy's bow tie is on too tight. You know,
They, they're
he hates the
all
Mets. He hates
so
the
many of
Mets.
them are clickbait
Yeah,
machines.
dude, that guy hates the Mets. The guy always craps on us. He's been doing it for years.
He's a
You know.
nerd.
Yeah, yeah,
He's the worst kind of nerd.
yeah. Right,
He's the one he's like tries to act like he's smarter than you, but he's
right.
really he just looks nerdy.
He looks
He's
smart.
not that much smarter than you.
Yeah, nah, nah. Him. Yeah. A few people.
And passing we trust.
Yeah, that's it, bro. That guy. He's a nerd. He's just a taller nerd. But the guy, yeah, he's patient with what he dishes out, and he's usually
Yeah,
right.
yeah. When he puts stuff out, it's concrete.
Yeah,
You can. It's
take it to the
official if he.
bank.
Yeah, it's official if he puts it out there.
Yes, sir.
But all right, I think that's pretty much wraps up what we have to do today. Um, I think we've ended every episode the same way, and uh, we always end it with "I hope we have something else to talk about next time." There's not really too much. We're not trying to rehash the same crap over and over and over and over again. Um, you see so many people online just literally writing the same articles over and over again. It's
Yeah,
like resharing the same crap over and over
yeah.
again. The Mets page is like they're just making up content now, like the jerseys, or they're coming up with lists or name your most obscure Mets players. It's just like they're really getting desperate
Everyone's
now.
in the same boat. Everyone's
Yeah,
just it has no content, so they have to make up stuff. But yeah,
yeah,
no, yeah. I hope we sign someone, guys, and if not, here's to spring training in 30 days.
yeah. Well, hopefully people get signed in general because then we'll have something to rant about at
Yeah,
least.
if we hate it or love it.
A nice old rant.
Yeah,
We're due for a good rant.
I can't wait till the season starts for us to rant off of games. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
Because if they do
yeah.
the crap they've been doing for the last couple of years, man, it's gonna be real fun.
Well, especially if the bullpen blows up and the starters blow up, and all those Hail Mary signings don't end up being anything worth anything.
It's gonna be a lot of I told you so's
Then
this
that'll
season.
be some fun
Yeah,
discussions.
absolutely. Yeah, and just we promise you, Bruce. Bruce has a beautiful, beautiful newborn, and Bruce is, I think a little bit busier than me and Mies. So we're taking on the workload, but he definitely has intentions to come back next season, next episode. But he's definitely taking care of more important, beautiful things. So, but he'll be back. We promise.
All right,
Yeah.
but that's it for today, and we're signing off, Miz and Damian. And as always, let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets.